Good morning, friends, and welcome back to the kitchen. So I still have an entire bag of apples that I need to go through. So I've decided I'm gonna go ahead and make some apple jelly. First thing, make sure your apples are nice and washed. All right, friends, so I've got all of my apples washed and ready to go. For this recipe, it's gonna be a two-part recipe. I'm gonna be following my Ball Complete Book of Home Preservation, and you can find this recipe on page 107. And it is apple juice for jelly. So we are gonna be taking these apples and creating a juice that we can then turn into a jelly. So this recipe is for canning. I will be water bath canning the jelly once we are all done with everything. So first part is we're gonna go ahead and make our juice. To make the juice, we need to make sure that the stem is off, and we're gonna go ahead and cut off the bottom, the blossom part of the apple. And then we're gonna go ahead and quarter this. And then you're gonna utilize the skin and the core of the apple, so all that stays intact. The only thing you're removing is the bottom part, the blossom, and the stem of the apple. That's it. Everything else goes into a pot on your stove. Let me get my stainless steel pot to go ahead and put all of our apples in. All right, friends, so once you are done cutting your apples, you're gonna go ahead and put them on the stove. I ended up getting a bigger pot because the one that I had was just not big enough for all the apples. And then you're gonna cover your apples with water and then go ahead and turn on the fire and let this go. You're gonna wanna come in here and watch this very closely and stir it up. As it starts coming to a boil, your apples are gonna start softening. I will then go ahead and get my potato masher and I will start helping the apples break down. And you wanna do this for about 30 minutes. You do not wanna go over that. You don't wanna overcook your apples because that will start taking away the flavor and the pectin, the natural pectin that is found in your fruit. All right, friends, my apples have come to a boil, so I'm gonna go ahead and loosely put a lid on top. And I'm gonna turn down my heat, and we are gonna let it simmer here while going in occasionally and stirring it up and mashing it down until our apples have softened really nicely. And then we'll go ahead and strain out all of the apples so that all that we're left with is our juice. So we're gonna let this go for about 30 minutes or until our apples have softened. All right, friends, so my apples are almost done cooking, and I went ahead and got the strainer ready. Unfortunately, I am out of cheesecloth, so I'm kind of made my own using coffee filters. I went ahead and lined my strainer with the coffee filters, got them wet so that way they stay in place, and I'll go ahead and pour our mixture of apples into that so that way they can fully drain into my pot. Now that itself is going to take probably 2 hours. You want to make sure you fully let all of the juice come out of the apples into your pot. So once that's ready, I'll show you what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna wait a couple hours before we put it back on the stove and finish up our jelly. All right, friends, so our apple mixture is all done. We're gonna go ahead and strain it into our strainer. All right, and there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and just cover these real quick. And these are gonna go probably for a couple hours until I know they have completely drained all of the juices out of these apples. And then we'll get started with our jelly. All right, friends, so it had been 2 hours and I completely let all of the juices come out of the pulp, and I am left with quite a bit of apple juice now. I need to figure out exactly how many cups of apple juice I have, because that will determine how much sugar I need to go ahead and add to my apple juice to create the jelly. So let me figure out how much apple juice I have here. All right, I've got exactly 16 cups of apple juice here. Let me go ahead and get this on the stove and get it back up to temperature. So we have finished part one of making our apple juice jelly. We've made the apple juice. Now we need to go to making the jelly. And that you're gonna find on page 120 in your book. And it's going to be old-fashioned apple jelly. This recipe calls for 4 cups of apple juice, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and then 3 cups of granulated sugar. So I need to go ahead and quadruple my recipe because I have 16 cups of apple juice that I'm going to turn into jelly. So I need to get the appropriate amount of sugar and lemon juice ready so I can go ahead and put it into my pot to start boiling down. All right, friends, so now that I have all of my sugar and my lemon juice measured out, we're going to go ahead and put it into our pot with our apple juice. When you're using the lemon juice, you want to make sure you get the lemon juice that is bottled because this is a guaranteed acidity that you need. So make sure you get the bottled kind. Let's go ahead and add this in, and then we're going to go ahead and stir it up and bring it to a boil. All right, friends, our apple juice is now starting to boil. We are gonna let it boil hard until it turns into a gel and it sleets off of a metal spoon. That can take about 25 minutes. So you wanna make sure that you're stirring this frequently during this time until it thickens up enough. We can go ahead and put it into our jelly jars. All right, friends, so my jelly is now ready to go ahead and put in their jars. So one thing to keep in mind, I am using a no pectin recipe, so it might be a little bit thinner than your normal jelly that you would put pectin into. So I'm fully expecting that, but it's still gonna taste just as good if it doesn't turn out to be a jelly, a real thick jelly like you would find if you were to use pectin. So let's go ahead and get these jars filled up so that we can put them into the canner. All right, so now that I've got them completely filled, I'm gonna take a wet rag with some vinegar on it, and I'm gonna clean the rims of my jars before I put the lids on top. Go ahead and put your rings on finger tight. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and completely cover the jars with water because we are water bath canning these. And once I put the lid on, I'm going to turn up the heat. Once I hear that it has come to a boil, I will start counting for 10 minutes. And that's how long they need to process in the water bath canner, fully boiling for 10 minutes. All right, friends, so it's been 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stove, and we're going to let it rest for 5 minutes before we go ahead and pull out those jars. All right, friends, so they are all here and they are ready to go ahead and start sealing. You want to wait until they have completely sealed before you take off the rims and put them down in your pantry. For whatever reason, if some of them do not seal, you're going to go ahead and process them again in your canner for 10 minutes. And at that point, they should all seal. If they do not, stick them in your refrigerator and just use them up within the next couple weeks. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, friends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. As always, I hope all is well, and have a blessed day.